just imagine for a second, right? Imagine for a second someone's like, what book should I get into? Okay, and then you hand them a book, and then they're like, wait, so I have to read all these pages to understand the story? Yes. What do you mean?
That's how stories work.
What do you mean? Yes, you do. You have to read all the pages. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this Star Trek video. We're kind of reacting to something again. I've seen this video.
Stealing other people's content.
Stealing other people's content, but you know, using that YouTube loophole to make it our own creative content. It's great. Also, if I sound really weird, it's because I'm coming off a sickness. I love when YouTubers do that. I just wanted to get that out.
He had ligma. Yeah. I know, guys.
Who the heck is Steve Jobs?
It's so sad Steve Jobs died of ligma.
Who the hell is Steve Jobs?
Ligma balls.
That I actually don't like whatever the hell this is. So my sweet little Tugglets, please be gentle with me while I state my case that anime at the very least is a hard watch for somebody like me. Because maybe someone else out there is being bombarded by a sea of anime memes and enjoyers, and they just need someone to hold on to as the ship sinks, and that you can hold on to me because I also don't understand what's going on anymore. And it's so crazy because I've said some wild stuff on this channel, but I'm so confident this is the video that's going to push the fan base over the edge and start hating me. I've already bought the sheet, so I might as well make the bed, but fuck. So let's start with a brief history. In Japan, anime is just the word for animation. It's a lot of people don't understand that concept. It's just Japanese animation. The anime aesthetics Americans are most familiar with today was developed in the 1960s by Osamu Tezuka in his series Astro Boy. Although a lot of Americans don't know anything about the show, everyone can identify this little dude, and they might not know his name, but at least he has some staying power.
Dude,
Astro Boy was syndicated in the US on NBC.
Real quick, Astro Boy anime actually went crazy. I remember watching that. I watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
Not like the super old one, but like the one that they made in probably like the 80s or 90s. It was colored. That's probably actually the 90s. I remember watching it. Dude, it was actually great. I remember watching it as a kid and enjoying it.
Movie. That's the only Astro Boy. I've seen the Astro Boy CG
anime. Bro, the CG anime movie sucks.
I saw it once as a kid, and I remember loving it as a kid, and I haven't seen it since.
Like,
all I've been hearing is people telling me it sucks, and I can believe it, because my judgment call for things that were great as a kid were if I watched it, it was good.
That's understandable.
From 1963 to 1965, and even though we didn't call it anime at the time, this was the entry point into American culture. When the VHS came along, important videos like Akira started getting cult classic status, paving the way for the explosion of anime on cable. It's also worth noting that in Akira, the Akira slide happens, and that piece of cinematography has been parodied or referenced about a million times in every American animated show. So just thought that was worth mentioning. I don't like anime, but that's a cool fact. In 1997, Cartoon Network's Toonami programming block really fucking brought anime into the American mainstream, introducing young kids like me, but not me, to shows like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, and Gundam Wing. And I know in a prior video I've already touched on state just how important Toonami was for the culture. Folks love to glaze on about the golden age of 2000s era television, when shows like The Sopranos, The Wire, Mad Men, and Breaking Bad elevated the form of television. But anime's introduction to Western mainstream culture did the same thing for young viewers. Instead of the fast-paced, ADD-inducing shows like Ed, Ed and Eddie or the Powerpuff Girls, anime offered more in-depth storytelling and character development. You'd actually have to pay attention to figure out what the hell is going on. Even anime for younger audiences had continuity and richness that was not present in American cartoons. Whatever. And it seemed to inspire modern cartoons into having through lines like Adventure Time and Fiona and Cake. That was so goddamn good. Make more Fiona and Cake. But so much of the anime that was celebrated in the 90s and the early 2000s was kid-focused. For example, Pokemon was everywhere, is still everywhere. It basically took over the world of anime, video games, and tabletop gaming all at once. It honestly got to the point where I feel like a lot of people forget that Pokemon started as an anime itself. Most people think it's a video game or just a silly introduction to a gambling addict.
That's where the video... No, I know. That's where the video...
Pokemon started as a video game first. What are you talking about, bud?
Yeah, this is where I start to say, hey, maybe a quick Wikipedia search about what anime is does not exactly qualify you to talk about anime, my friend.
Yeah. Also, I was about to ask, like, where is he going with this? How are you bringing this into the fact that anime hurts to watch? I'm just like, you're just giving me a history right now, and that's fine, I guess. But Why?
He's gonna talk, and there is some points that I don't remember off my head, but I remember when I watched the video, I was like, this is something I need to talk about, because this guy just doesn't sound like he knows exactly what he's saying right now. Okay. And I could easily debunk this in like a 30-second conversation with the guy.
Success of Pokemon meant we were inundated with more potential profit drivers like Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't remember Digimon at all, except for the opening lines of the theme song that go, Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champion. That's all I remember from it, but that does mean I've seen it at least. Anyways, the market felt immediately oversaturated with this kind of shit.
I think that's BS.
Yeah.
Like that's like saying there's too many like shows like Zoe 101.
Yeah, there's too many sitcoms.
Yeah, like it's that's just kind of dumb in my opinion. And like the thing is that a lot of those shows, Beyblade, bro. Beyblade was one of my freaking most favorite shows as a kid.
Yeah.
Because it actually had like one, yeah, I could Beyblade with my friends. That was freaking dope.
Yeah.
Dope. And two, like it had stakes. It had plot. It wasn't just an episodic. Yeah. I mean, Beyblade can be episodic. It can be. It's not always episodic. But like all of their kids shows are super episodic and like don't really mean anything. It's just something to have on. Yeah. Except for Ben 10. Ben 10's goated. And so it like I think anime made kids shows better.
Yeah.
Like I think because there's an oversaturation because people liked it.
Yeah.
Because people wanted more.
Yeah.
Because they got good ratings. Don't you think there's a correlation there?
I remember sitting there watching like Fairly Odd Parents and getting pissed that the resolution at the end of the episode did not carry over to the next episode. I'd be annoyed about that all the time, and that's one of the reasons why I would love watching like Dragon Balls and shows so much, Digimon and everything like that, is because the things that happen this episode matter the next one, and I didn't know that I cared about that at the time, but there was a reason why I didn't like watching like SpongeBob as much as I liked watching Digimon. It's just that was
or Lego Ninjago.
Lego Ninjago, yes,
bro. You can't look at me in the eyes and say that Lego Ninjago is not an anime.
Lego Ninjago is super
100% an anime.
Lego Ninjago is so peak, bro. I love Lego.
Peak.
Also, there's so many like anime inspired shows, probably like Lego Ninjago, but also like more overtly like Avatar: The Last Airbender. And Steven Universe even. That are like super anime inspired. That's like if you like these and you say you don't like anime, you're just lying. You're just lying.
We got Komodo, which is for real young viewers, like generally under 12 years old. And then we got shonen animes, which is aimed at teenage boys with shows like Dragon Ball Z, like that kind of anime. And shonens have a counterpart called shoujo, which is aimed at teenage girls with shows like Sailor Moon. And then we have seinen and josei. I'm trying here. They're aimed at adult men and women respectively. But then you have like the genre of the show itself. You have the mech shows, which are like giant robot shows where people climb into giant robots and fight things. A category of anime which shocks me because how many stories can you write about climbing into robots and fighting people?
A lot.
I feel like
that's like saying I found out this genre called sci-fi. How many stories can you write about going into space? Like
exactly. That's like saying I heard about this genre called comedy.
Yeah.
It's about this guy that stuff happens and it's funny.
Yeah.
How many stories can you make about that?
Yeah.
Like, bro, come on.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Also, the next thing he's about to say is probably gonna piss you off. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like that well would run dry. Oh my god, is Attack on Titan a mecha anime? Oh my god, that makes. Oh, I guess there's a lot of avenues they can go down with that. I've watched one anime, and it's Attack on Titan. I want to make that clear. It's the only one I've ever watched. My roommate made me watch it. It was pretty good, but whatever. Then we have Spokon, specifically sport-focused anime.
Do
you see my problem with this video, Noah?
Yeah!
Do you see my problem with this video, Noah?
I watched it. It was pretty good, but I don't like anime.
I watched one anime. It's the only anime I've ever seen. The only one I've seen I liked. It was pretty good, but I don't like anime, and I'm making this entire video talking about why I don't like anime. Hey, maybe watch two
Maybe you should go watch more.
Maybe watch another anime if you liked one anime. Like, buddy, like...
Bro.
Attack, and maybe some people have this idea that like the one anime they watch is an outlier. I promise you, Attack on Titan is not an outlier. Like if you like Attack on Titan, there are so many other shows that you will like freaking go watch Gundam immediately after. Go watch freaking One Punch Man. Go watch like
Vinland Saga.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't understand like people who think like this. Like you literally said you liked it. Like this is the reason why I'm like there's no shot.
That's crazy.
There's no shot. It's like this is the thing that when I talk to people about anime because there's still like not as big as there was a couple years ago, but there's still a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm not watching anime. Anime is weird. That's still a thing that's somewhat prevalent. And every time I talk to people about like, they're like, oh, I'm like, hey, have you ever watched this anime? They're like, no. And I'm like, how do you know you don't like it? It's just because it looks weird. Like maybe watch a show. Also, like anytime I hear, a lot of times I hear like, oh, what show did you watch? Like, I don't know. Did you start from the beginning? They're like, no. I'm like, wow. Crazy stuff, man. I like that. That's freaking insane. Imagine jumping in the middle of Walking Dead and being like, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, obviously, because you didn't watch from the beginning. Like, I don't. This is stupid.
So my thing is that I love stories. Yeah. I love storytelling. I love storytelling of all kind, any kind.
Yeah.
And the thing is that in my opinion, animation is the greatest form of storytelling that you could possibly have. Because literally you can do anything with it. You can do anything you want. It's literally, there's infinite possibilities. And
for a visual medium, probably. I would argue books can also, because of just the level of imaginativeness, because it's all in your own head, right?
So, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I agree to it. I agree to a degree. Yeah. I think the visual and audio format is better overall for a more connection.
I agree.
And that's why animation, especially anime, because a lot of like regular animation doesn't really go along the routes that Japanese anime does.
Yeah.
That you get just these massive worlds, these beautifully crafted stories that exist in these spaces, and that you're missing out on when you just say anime's lame, it's weird, I don't like it. And I think that is just completely dumb.
The fuck to watch. It is a assault on my senses. And then when a show is defined by its respective genre, we have the much bigger issue of the fact that a lot of these shows never end. They keep going. There's 1 million episodes per show. You know how like The Simpsons is still running, despite the fact that we all wished it ended after the Simpsons movie? Well, a lot of the best animes become long-running series to little to no critical outcry. Toonami may have introduced Gundam Wing to the American audiences, but the Gundam franchise has been around since 1979 and has spawned over 50 different TV shows. How? How are they doing that? And that's nothing compared to the slice of life show Sasa-san. Originally a comic strip, the anime has been on TV in Japan since 1969. It's the longest running animated TV series in the world, featuring over 8,000 episodes. And apparently it's like a weird blend of the Peanuts and Doctor Who. I don't know. I tried to watch one episode and I had no clue what was going on. And then you have a show like One Piece, which is a meme in itself for how fucking...
This dude's trying to watch something that's been ingrained into the Japanese, like, society and culture.
I don't know.
That's something that's been running for 8,000 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I probably couldn't really get into Detective Conan because it's got like 3,000 episodes or something like that, and it's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
Because of what it is. But you can't like say, oh, this is weird. You've got animes that have been going on for 3,000 episodes. Like, I don't like that. I'm not gonna watch it.
Also,
don't watch the ones that are 8,000 episodes long.
I think it's incredibly...
Maybe watch the ones that are... Hold on. Maybe watch the ones that are like 12 episodes long, because you know they end in a their concise storyline. They end and they're good. So yeah, maybe start with that.
Also, just I think it's incredibly ignorant to sit there and be like, oh, how are they made so many Gundams, buddy? You live in America. Have you not heard of Marvel, DC, Star Wars? Like, what are you talking about? Like if things are popular and people like them, they keep making more of it. That's how it works.
I know.
Like,
so many people have told me I need to watch One Piece, and not only that, they tell me I have to watch the first 30 episodes before it gets interesting.
Hold on. Okay.
What?
Like,
Hey,
I just have an issue with that One Piece take, because that's like... Wait, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna have them finish his sentence before I say anything.
Let me give you a quick note to all One Piece fans. If I have to watch 30 episodes of a show before it gets good, that kind of means it's a bad show. People are gonna get pissed. That is a fucking ridiculous request.
This is the thing I have to say about that. Just in general for like One Piece takes. First of all, this is just thing he said most recently last. If the first 30 episodes of a show are bad, that's like not even 5% of the overall like quantity of episodes of the show. That is not indicative of the show's quality. If majority of the show is good, then it's good no matter how much of the beginning was bad. Sometimes things just take a second to get on their feet. Like how many people will tell you, oh, you can't watch the first season of The Office. For the first 2 seasons of The Office, I don't like The Office, but people are like, oh, the first 2 seasons of The Office are bad, and then they like, oh, but the other seasons are good, you gotta watch those seasons. Like, no, you can't say that, and then just have it be, the majority of episodes are good. Also, the first 30 episodes of One Piece are not bad. The people who say that are just like, they just want their ADHD brained anime to like they want to be moving fast. Like, no, he's taking a second to put on this to build up the story. And then, but if you're just waiting for something amazing to happen, like for something god tier to happen, then like, yeah, it's gonna take a second. But if you just enjoy the show as it is, as a show, then you'll be fine with it at the beginning. And also just to loop around, if a show has 1,000 episodes and 30 of them are bad, like that's not how that works. It's just not how it works. I don't understand that. To quote a YouTuber, Daniel Green, that's like reading just or watching just the Shire bit of Lord of the Rings before the hobbits even go on the adventure, and they're like, fuck that, this sucks. Like, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna watch the rest of it. You're gonna give it a chance, because like you're not even done with it yet. Like the adventure hasn't even started. That's literally the first 50 episodes are literally the prologue.
The only way to get into anime is to make it the biggest part of your personality. Because for fuck's sake, where are you guys finding all this time? Between Rocket League and anxiety-inducing Wikipedia rabbit holes, I do not have time to catch up on Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and Dragon Ball Dai.
Just quickly, you don't have to watch half the things you just listed. Just watch
like,
Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball Super. Like that's it. You just you don't need to think. I don't know.
Sorry, bud. Yeah.
GT is not even canon. Like
you kind of dug your own grave right there by saying Dragon Ball Z and then Dragon Ball GT and then Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Yeah.
Because Z Kai is literally just Z but better.
Yeah.
So
Dragon Ball Rule 34. I don't have time to catch up on this shit. And it's not just a problem with anime. I mean, like I said, The Simpsons, and like we have, Law and Order, which has been going on forever. But with those shows, you don't have to focus up. It's the same shit every week. You tune in, nothing changes. You don't have to look up the plot.
Why would you want that?
What happened in the 80s to really understand what's happening nowadays. And I'll be honest, I've thought about jumping into anime several times. I'm not above this.
Right. What's interesting about that? What's interesting about a show that you could just watch one episode, not really be invested in it, and not really get anything from it in the end?
If I'm gonna spend 40 minutes watching a show, I want to enjoy those 40 minutes and not be like, all right, that was the same as last week. That's freaking boring.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason why I don't watch majority of like American procedural shows. Be like that, especially those for some reason America's obsession with like law and like crime shows,
and cops and fire station shows.
Yeah, it's because like a lot of the time in my experience, I when I've seen them, they haven't been interesting to me. And
and that's why shows like Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, freaking Game of Thrones were so crazy wild because stuff was actually happening and it wasn't just the same BS 40-minute story that gets wrapped up and only stays in its own little cocoon.
Yeah.
That's why those shows changed American television, because they were, actually good and actually had a storyline to them. So your point here is kind of dumb because you actually are regressing, because you talked earlier about how amazing The Sopranos and Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones was, and now you're being like, oh, but I really actually just like shows that I can just watch whenever I want and not have to have any subcontext or pre-context for any of the stuff that's going on.
Missing out on a whole category of media that seems super fun and people are very passionate about. And then I'll ask a friend, hey, which anime should I start with? And God forbid they say something coherent. They'll give you a list of 20 shows that are worth watching. Half of them only have one season after 20 years, and the other half have 90 seasons, and you have to watch all the episodes to understand what's going on. Then you open up Crunchyroll, and on the main page, there's more
that's how stories go.
Grains of sand at the beach. It's all just mentally taxing. It's
hold on.
That's like saying
I know
regular TV shows.
I know we keep talking about this point, but just imagine for a second, right? Imagine for a second someone's like, what book should I get into? Okay. And then you hand them a book, and then they're like, wait, so I have to read all these pages to understand the story? Yes! What do you mean?
That's how stories work.
What do you mean? Yes, you do. You have to read all the pages. What are you talking about? I don't understand. If you don't want to watch a show or something that's fun, but like just don't be like I have to watch. Like don't act like you don't know how this works. Like we understand. Like I don't, bro. That's so retarded.
That's literally any TV show, any movie with any plot.
Yeah.
You have to watch it to understand what's happening. That's called good storytelling.
Yeah. God, do I have to watch this whole movie to understand the story? Nah, bro. You can watch like first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes, you'll get it. Like no.
If you watch the middle third, you'll actually get most of the movie, and you don't really need to watch the other first third or the second third, or the last third. So you can really get the entire plot just based on the 30 minutes in the middle of it.
Mentally taxing form of media. Oh, and speaking of mentally taxing, let's talk about the mental tax of horny shit being on my TV screen when my mom walks in the room. Now, I'm not talking about a word that my editor might need to bleep because I don't know how YouTube feels about me using that word. But when it comes to anime, the line between drawn porn and animated television is extremely blurry. Horny anime is a world unto itself. It might need a deeper video at one point. But anime is full of hyper-sexualized characters to an unbelievably uncomfortable extent. We're not talking tastefully sexy. The word tasteful has never been a before the war fan term. And it becomes incredibly problematic when you find out that the majority of these girl characters dance around with half their clothes on are 16 years old. They're all teenagers, and I don't know why we're not fucking talking about that. Oh, it's a different culture, Tucker. You just don't understand it, yada, yada, yada. Okay, how about if I said the word lolly? You got an argument for that, pimp? You gonna defend that? Because that's a real thing that shows up in anime sometimes without reason or warning.
Like, is lolly inherently sexual? I thought lolly was just a tiny girl. Is it inherently sexual?
I mean, it kind of, like in some contexts, yes.
I mean, I know you can sexualize lollies, but I didn't think that lolly just meant like it's forever sexual.
It's not entirely, but there's definitely, just because it is unfortunately sexualized a lot, that there's that context behind it a lot of the time.
Gotcha, fair enough.
Sexually without warning is a big part of anime, and that little expression of gratitude towards the audience is known as fan service, if I haven't made that clear enough. Basically, fan service is like halfway through the last season of Breaking Bad, suddenly Skylar was wearing a bikini all the time. It makes very little sense, but the fans like it. Fan service does not drive the plot forward, it's just eye candy for the audience, and I'm not judging people wanking it to drawings, but you know. But somehow, fan service isn't even the most pervy part of anime. Like the show, I want you to make a disgusted face and show me your underwear. A real title, a real anime. We can go to Crunchyroll and fucking watch it.
Pause. Look, yes, that's an anime, but
I get his point, right?
It's like literature. There's tons of stuff. 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey is a smutty, dirty sexual book.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that all books are like that.
Yeah, you're not
doesn't
gonna sit
mean
there
that,
and be like,
that all books have stupid, crazy graphic sexual scenes for no apparent reason.
Yeah, the majority, even though like the majority of like book readers will say now are in it for like the sex books and the smut and this stuff.
Yeah,
and then like the book talk is a whole thing of just horny girls reading books or whatever. And it's like, you're not gonna look at that and then just completely write off like all books. You're not gonna be like, oh, since this is like this, I'm not reading Lord of the Rings, I'm not reading Percy Jackson, I'm not reading freaking 2, I'm not reading any, like that's not how it's gonna work.
like saying and using the example of show me a disgusted face and show me your panties at the same time, or whatever it's called. Like, it's not like that's a popular anime that a lot of people are talking about.
I've never heard of that before.
I've never heard of that either.
Yeah.
It's not like that's a common thing.
Yeah.
That's an outlier. That's for people who are horny and want to jerk off to softcore porn or whatever. Like, it's really completely separate.
Yeah.
Like it's like the same thing with smut books and saying that because there's smut books around, I just don't read any type of literature or books.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
That is dumb.
That's not how that works.
This is the first point I do agree with, though, in just a sense that there are like a lot. There are too many like weird, like horny anime that are like over sexual. That's a big problem with Japanese culture in general. Just like the over sexualization of women in shows and all that. It's a big problem. But like I think it is,
and especially like the very common pervert character Mineta. Roshi,
even though Roshi's the goat, but still,
well, like Fire Force, for example, for some reason, Tamaki's like auto fan service or whatever is literally like holds the universe together for some reason. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
What's the point of that?
Yeah,
it's dumb. It's excessive, and it's not needed. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of shit that gets like written off in anime for that exact. That like I think I would like the same way I wouldn't say like just because 50 Shades of Grey exists and all these other smut books, it means you shouldn't read like fucking Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't say just because freaking Prison School exists, you shouldn't watch One Piece. So
exactly,
I just think
that animes deal with. In My Life as Inuka-san's Dog, the protagonist wakes up as a dog and is rescued by his
That's just relatable. That's just relatable.
Yeah, while being treated like a dog, while also being super turned on because he's hanging out with his crush. And for some reason, people don't blink an eye at this shit. They just let it pass. And then there's this show called Food Wars, whatever.
Okay, no. Food Wars is goated. Okay, Food Wars is great for a variety of reasons.
Yeah,
but I think the foodgasms, as you could call them, are funny.
They are.
I think it's a comedic part of the story, and kind of adds a little bit of flair. Like, yeah, it can be pretty excessive sometimes. And if I'm watching Food Wars, I'm probably turning down the volume or have headphones in.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't watch it in public. Actually, I don't really watch any anime in public. Just because you never know what's gonna pop up. But Food Wars is great.
I mean, I understand the Food Wars, but I will like argue that like Food Wars is one of the very rare shows that, first of all, it's just one of those like gag manga that uses sexualization, I say, in a better way than 99% of other like sexual jokes, simply because it doesn't just sexualize women, it does it to the men.
It sexualizes men as well. Yeah.
It does it with everything like that.
Because for absolutely no reason, all the men are freaking toned, have great pecs, have an 8-pack, like. It's just that's just how it is for the entire series.
Yeah, that's just.
And so if you're sexualizing everyone, then nobody's sexual.
Yeah, that's just the bit that he's just so good at making food that people just freaking just have foodgasms, and it's just and I wouldn't say like, and you're like, oh, if you're saying that's weird, like that's the reason why I'm not doing it, then like I don't know, I don't think you can do it either, because once again, like freaking I'm watching Game of Thrones and they're having an important, the amount of time I've been watching Game of Thrones and they're having an important political discussion, and then behind the scenes there's like a guy having sex in a fucking whorehouse, like it's not. Like it's the same. We both do this. Yeah. So
competitions. That sounds innocent enough, right? No, but every time they eat the food, they have orgasms. All of them had foodgasms. Look at this screenshot. What the fuck is going on? And I know I'm cherry picking here. These are pretty extreme examples. Okay, I understand what I'm doing. But there's definitely little aspects of all this pervy shit sprinkled into anime. Every anime you see, they just fucking once in a while an episode you just see tits, and I don't appreciate that. When I'm trying to watch anime for the first time,
Vinland Saga or Attack on Titan,
all of a sudden boobs are out and anime girls are moaning. My mom, doesn't matter where she is in the country, will walk into my room at that moment, and then the cycle continues because I can't watch anime anymore. Stop putting.
What are you talking about? You watch anime.
That's the whole issue of anime being in a different language, which I should have started with that. That's a pretty big barrier to entry. Just like any niche interest, anime fans have some sort of infighting, and one of the biggest controversies in the community is sub versus dub debate, which, like most niche debates,
I'm not gonna say much about this, but I will say this. Listen, sub versus dub. Who cares? Watch the language that you like. I would say more subs are good than dubs, but there are some bad subs and there are some bad dubs, and there are some dubs that are just as good, some dubs that are better. It depends on the show. It doesn't really matter that much. I'd have to say Squid Game is the most popular show on Netflix.
And yeah, it has a terrible sub.
Squid Game is the most popular show on Netflix, and you had to watch that in sub. If you watch Squid Game, if you're one of the many people who watch Squid Game as it was the most popular show on Netflix, you have no right to complain at all. Squid Game is also just, it's structured as well like an anime. It's just not animated.
This is a moot point. It's a dumb point. It means really nothing at all. Because you could watch it dub or sub, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's just dumb. This is a dumb point. I'm sorry. It just is.
Yeah.
I wanted to discuss the fact that anime is addictive. I've lost some pretty important people in my life to anime. Take, for example, my best friend, my soulmate, my roommate for 8 years, Connor Whitman. Connor was an A+ athlete all throughout high school, a strong athlete, and a straight arrow until I showed him what alcohol and weed was. He had such a bright future ahead of him until he discovered anime. The path anime takes to destroy your life is eerily similar to how hard drugs takes over your world. First, you start with an entry-level drug. shrug, like Cowboy Bebop or Death Note. Sure, there's definitely some strange cultural differences, but the plot is simple enough and the characters are engaging, so you enjoy the show. Then once you finish that one, you might as well look around at the other animes, because it seems to be a pretty enjoyable format of media. Then you start watching that one. And then at the same time, why not watch 2 at once? Now you're watching 2. Now you're watching 3 at once. You start missing out on American media because you don't have time in your schedule. There's no time slots open. It's all anime focused. Then you're watching 8 animes at once. Then you're buying merch. Then you're getting a fucking body pillow at a convention. Then you're reading pirated mangas on the internet because you don't want to wait for the next episode come out, so you just read the fucking book it's based off of. Then you're cosplaying. Then you're jerking off to some weird shit. Then you're isolating yourself from the conventional means of a civilized society, and you lose your way. I miss Connor so much. And he's gone. In the throes of anime addiction, I've lost one of my best friends. I'm gonna play the finals with him tonight probably, but it's not gonna be him. It's gonna be a shell of what anime has left for me. A fucking bucket of popcorn.
Right, I think that's enough.
Hey bud, maybe your friend is addicted to it, because it's really freaking good. You ever thought about that?
Or just like,
you know, maybe because he enjoys the medium, he actually enjoys the stories that he's watching. Also, that's crazy. 8 animes. I watch 1, maybe 2 animes at a time, unless it's airing weekly. That's a different story because it's airing weekly. Like 8 at a time. It's a little hyperbolic. And yeah, like. Maybe it's so addicting because it's really good and people actually enjoy it, and people aren't just getting shoveled freaking American crap that doesn't have a lot of soul behind it, doesn't have a lot of meaning or purpose behind it, and then they find these stories that do, and despite the fact that they're animated, they still tell incredible and amazing stories that people enjoy, that people relate to, and that resonate with them. And so maybe that's why people are addicted to anime, because there's something there that actually motivates them, that inspires them in these stories that they're watching. To completely push it off because it's weird is dumb. That's my spiel.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I mean, like, to kind of talk about some of these, like, there's a fair share of like factory made anime as there are like factory made like TV shows.
100%.
Like the isekai fad in Japan. It reminds me a lot of just like the crime shows in America where they just pump out just shit and it's just like whatever, just because people like it, it's popular and they'll just watch whatever. and that's the thing. But like, I don't know, this thing about like this people say about anime, this is as I've heard these opinions a lot before, and it's just always been super weird to me because just imagine saying this about like any other form of media, like imagine like being like, bro, like I've lost my friend to books, but like that's why you shouldn't read books, because they're too addictive. When you read you read one book and you like it and you start reading more books, and then all of a sudden you read multiple books and you just read too many books, and I lost my friend. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, it like when you compare it to any other medium, or music. Yeah, man, music's addicting. I lost my friend in music. Like, it automatically shows how dumb that argument is. Yeah. And how like irrelevant the argument is as a whole. Yeah. And how just it's not a good argument. It's
just a thing that people say. It's because like it's just anime's fighting off the been slowly but surely fighting off the weird allegations that it's been having for years about just like everything in anime is weird. People are slowly finding out, oh, this is just a show in another format like any other storytelling media.
Yep.
So, and now a lot of people still have this rhetoric, and this guy, I don't know, he seems like he's dead ass said like he watched anime and he liked it, and for some reason he just doesn't want to continue to watch more, and it's just like the dumbest thing in the world to me, because like if you like the show, I don't understand why you wouldn't believe that you wouldn't like more shows, and it's not because you don't want to seem weird, but like it's too late if you don't want to seem weird. You're wearing a grommet shirt, bro. Like, I don't know, like you're wearing a grommet shirt and your name is Big Tugg on the internet. Like, I don't know. And it's not a problem. It's just like, dude, like, when people sit here and they say like, oh, anime is weird, anime is all these things, it's like you point me like one weird thing in anime and I'll point you 10 weird things in any other things that you watch, and it's and you only don't think it's weird because it's that you watch it. It's like, just don't, just like, every single form of medium has its own like weird niches and like boring and shit things that you can like look and pick and choose from. But like at the end of the day, if you just look at any of that and take that as a reason to dismiss the whole medium as a whole, I just think is really stupid. It's just like you shouldn't be doing that. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts, Noah?
Not really, man. Yes. I got pretty much all of it out. I agree with you. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching this video. Go over and check out Big Tugg's channel as well. I like most of his other videos. I just wanted to talk about this one because I just thought his opinions were insane, and he shouldn't be. And as someone who hasn't watched any anime, I just don't think he has room to talk about this because he just didn't. I just don't think he knows what he's talking about. But yeah, go check out his other videos. I think he's pretty funny.
The name Big Tugg, fantastic name. Big Tugg is a great name. I love that actually.
But yeah, definitely go check him out. It's pretty funny. And thank you everybody for watching. Leave a like and everything if you enjoyed, and check out our other stuff. And
end of video.
See you next time.